friends, and thanks for joining me. And today I want to talk to you about things that are kind of expensive, but I kind of believe are worth the money. Because sometimes in life, things that we have that we want to be frugal on can actually backfire a little bit, like I mentioned not long ago in my frugal fails video. But also there are just things where when we're trying to weigh our options and different things that we have to choose from, sometimes when we choose the cheapest option, it's not always the best because it won't wear very well. It's not the best investment. It's just not the best choice in general. So I want to share with you my quick list of the things that I feel like are kind of expensive but are actually worth the money. The first one is tools. Tools I think are really worth the money because a lot of the times when we're able to do a project by ourselves and not have to hire someone to do it, it is way cheaper. So while tools can cost some money up front, they're definitely worth, doing so and making it to where we can not only be more independent, but also have the ability to fix things when something breaks. If something starts leaking, we can just take care of it without having to call anyone, so we can take care of things faster and much less expensively on our own because of those. So while they can be a little on the expensive side, I think tools are definitely worth it. The next one is our garden and, with our fruit trees and different things like that. Just our homestead in general, even the chickens. While they can be a little bit on the pricey side to buy and to raise and, to put the trees in the ground, to start a little orchard and stuff like that, which I did this year and it wasn't cheap by any means. I did find ways to try to do it for cheaper, but it's still not cheap. Still, though, I honestly believe that these items are good investments because, the garden produces lots of food. I mean, we just gave a whole bunch of food. We were invited over for dinner, to a friend's house, and I brought them a whole bag, like 2 bags actually, full of just garden produce that we were able to share with them. And they were really excited about it, and I'm really excited about it too. So I get really excited when other people get excited about the same things I get excited about. That was a really dorky thing to say. Anyway, so yes, garden is definitely worth it because it's another one of those things that kind of pays for itself in time and definitely worth doing. The next one would be house. Our house is definitely worth the money, even though it was a little bit on the expensive side. So I will say though that, while a house in general can be kind of expensive, or even just a not bottom of the market house can be kind of expensive, again, it's a very worthy investment and it's worth, buying and doing and, all of the work and everything else that goes into that. As well as the upgrades. So like the projects we've been doing, the insulation that I added, stuff like that. While that stuff can, be a little bit on the pricey side, again, all of these fall into investment categories, and that's what I try to do. We try to, limit the amount of money that we are spending and instead, focus on the money that we are able to invest instead, which is, I think, a good financial decision. The next one is our stove and oven. We bought that stove on Craigslist and it was $450. However, it was a $750 oven if we were to have bought it, just brand new. And it actually was brand new. Somebody bought a brand new house and they didn't want the fact that it was an electric stove. They preferred a gas stove. And so they listed it up for sale and they had, somebody come and run a new gas line in their brand new house to be able to, accommodate that gas stove that they wanted. And while they never even used it once, they never even turned it on, we got a pretty big discount of about $300 on that brand new stove just for buying it on Craigslist. And the thing has been wonderful. We use it every day. And so it's definitely worth, buying something that is easy to work with, that works really well. The next one is our freezer. Honestly, I think a freezer is, again, another good investment because while they aren't that expensive, they allow us to be able to stock up on foods that are, on sale so that we can, kind of mitigate, the spikes in our budget that can occur sometimes, with having to purchase food. Also, being able to, preserve some of our garden produce without having to can it. I personally prefer frozen foods better than canned foods anyway, and so it's much easier to say cut up a bunch of peaches and put them in the freezer, and so it not only makes it less work for us, but I honestly think it just the food tastes better. So I really enjoy the fact that we have that freezer so that we can preserve a bunch of the stuff that we have from our garden. The next thing is our workout equipment. And so if you had a gym membership, but then you just go in, you know, you lift a couple of free weights and then you go on the treadmill and then you leave, and every time it's the same, it would make more sense to just invest in a few free weights and a treadmill than it would be to continue with that, you know, gym membership. So again, having, you know, some workout equipment at home has been a huge help to me for a couple of reasons. First of all, I feel like it does help save money, but also I find it easier. I don't have to, you know, carve out as much time because I don't have to incorporate, you know, time there and back. I can do it when my kids are here. I can even multitask. I can be like boiling something for dinner and also be, you know, working out on the treadmill or something like that, and then kind of intermittently checking on it. So it has been a huge time help, and I believe that having the stuff at home has made it to where I am more diligent in doing it. And so yeah, I definitely think that workout equipment, while it can be a little bit expensive, very worth, you know, its expense. The next one is food. I honestly think that quality food is definitely worth the expense. I have noticed a very significant difference between, say, like certain organics, not all, but definitely certain organics versus others, that my body just have a lot less digestive issues and just different things like that. Similarly to that, the next one is supplements. Again, this is not one of the things that anybody would ever be able to convince me that it's you know, a waste of money. I've heard, you know, people say that their doctor told them, oh, well, all supplements are good for is making for expensive pee. I mean, I don't want to share the whole big story, but a long time ago, from about 2008 until 2010, I was having some, you know, health issues. Nothing serious, but just like frequent headaches and just not having enough energy and getting sick frequently. And I was like, what is wrong with my immune system? Why can't I get, you know, better faster? And why is it that I keep getting sick no matter what happens? And, you know, they were unable to help me. A lot of times they've said, you know, sorry, but you don't have anything I can fix. Good luck. And so I started doing research on my own, and I started taking a few different supplements for some different things, and it has made a night and day difference in my life. I feel healthy, upbeat, and vibrant, and I never felt that way when I was kind of going through those health issue time frame of my life. So while a lot of people think that these are not worth the money and that they're just sort of a waste, I definitely disagree with that, and I have noticed a very significant difference in my health when I take the right supplements and for the right reasons, and not, you know, neglecting my health in this portion of, you know, our health routine. The last one I'm thinking of, just because when I was putting together this list last night, I was hanging out with my kids and I was like, you know what, you guys are worth the money. You guys can be a little pricey, but you're definitely worth it. And they were like, well, at least we're worth it. But I was kidding, and they knew I was kidding. Honestly, I think kids are probably one of the best investments that we can make, and I'm really glad that we had them and that they're in our lives. They've added a lot of value to our lives, and so I'm really excited to have them. Although I will admit that this one is probably a little bit of a silly one, and I wasn't serious about it because they're really not even that expensive. So anyway, they don't really fall on the list. I was just kidding. Anyway, thanks for joining me on the video, and I would love to hear from you. What kind of expensive things do you find that are worth, you know, the money to you? I know my husband would probably add something like shoes, or, you know, we all have different things that we feel are, you know, while they can be a little bit on the expensive side, are definitely worth it, and I would love to hear from you. So anyway, I'm Frugal Green Girl. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.